Hi everyone, I'm Maria, a wellness therapist, and today we are going to talk about the 6 strategies to restore energy forever. These are basic major things which we have to do in order to our energy to be restored. Of course, we take small steps, but because we are adults, not necessarily a baby step, because the life in front of us, for most of us, is less than the life behind us. So we have to take quite a stride forward. So 6 strategies to restore energy forever. In order to achieve that forever change, it is important to build solid habits. And here I would like to say that a habit we build for 21 days, but not a solid habit. It becomes a solid habit when it's done minimum 5 or 6 months. Then we can use that word. And that habit will create the environment in which we live, we work, we take vacation, and etc. That will be the foundation on which the internal and external healing can thrive. I hope this is clear. And my name is Maria Taneva, and I'm a wellness therapist. So every chronic health condition usually occurs because of the following major imbalances between thinking. Why thinking? Because our thoughts create emotions. The emotions create hormonal changes in our body. And this way, we change internally, physically. Then it's the breathing. The breathing patterns are extremely important for our internal processes, life, recovery. It's for our health as well as for our posture. And I will mention this later on. Hydration, I will be talking about hydration and the importance of it. No, you cannot skip that. It is very important, hydration. Nutrition, you cannot skip that one either. This is actually the major habit we have to change when we start with clients. Movement, different movement for different people. The movement has to serve the body. It has to give it energy, not move and then pass out on the couch because you're so tired from your training, but move in such a way that your body has energy to do all it has to do internally and externally. This is the optimum movement program. Sleep, extremely important. I will talk a little bit more about that later on. And note number 1, mouth hygiene. When I'm saying mouth hygiene, I don't mean the mouth to be squeaky clean, and I mean the mouth to have the right bacterial ratio, the right species ratio that will meet the external invasion when we eat and breathe and etc. We're not supposed to breathe through the mouth, but when we breathe as well, those species protect ourselves. This is the first line of defense. You can argue with me, yes, the skin is also, they call it the first line of defense, but let's say a 1A and 1B, they both are first line of defense of our body. And note number 2 would be your digestive system, and more specifically, what comes out of your digestive system. Everyone who works with me knows that they have to monitor the outcome of the digestive system for sure. So the first important habit is our nutrition. For our nutrition, we have to talk with love all the time, because this is something we do 3 or even more times a day, and we have to love to do it. It has to be a pleasure. It has to give us energy, so it has to be appropriate for the season. For example, in the winter, we eat more fatty foods, more protein foods. In the summer, we eat more carbs and more protein sources that are not from meat. This is because of the heat and etc. Also, the food has to be sufficient. A lot of people are dieting, and I'm very much against those limitations. I'm for the right foods in the right proportions, but there always has to be a way to get more if we like something without invading us and without causing us troubles. So this is the sufficient food, sufficient proportions of proteins, carbs, and fat. And more about the food: do we eat only when we're hungry or at a set time? This is important. Also, do we eat while the sun is up and we don't eat while the sun sets? This is very important. Do we take sufficient amount of nutrients? Do we digest them? Lately, they say we are not what we eat, but we are what we digest, assimilate. So it's important, your favorite foods, everything you take during the day to be assimilated in such a way that the body can take out vitamins, minerals, and other components like macro components like protein, carbs, and fats in order to function properly. Do we stop eating when the sun sets? Yes, we have to. It's very important. What does food mean to us? When I did one of my courses for holistic coaching, and the first thing we had to do is, what is my attitude, my how do I feel the food? What do I think of food? What is it for me? Does it bring me pleasure, or I just eat to survive, or things like that? And very often with my clients, I ask them to write down this, and then we discuss how we change the food in a way that it's a real pleasure, it gives us energy, and we don't have to think about food in between meals. Which are the main food groups? The main food groups are carbs, fat, and proteins. We work with those macronutrients. So here in those pictures, I will suggest you what a ketogenic diet looks like. It seems that it's appropriate with some tailoring to people. For almost every person, it is a good start for people who are on a healing path. And then these diets, I said I don't like this word, but I guess I'll be using it, have to be tailored all the time to serve the needs of the path we have taken, a path towards healing. And what do we mean by that? For instance, some people, the tall, skinny people, are ectomorphs, and they very often need more carbs to survive because they oxidize them very slowly, and they do better on carbs. For them, if they're on some ketogenic plan or something similar, it has to be adapted in a way like the picture above, where maybe, I don't know if you can see or not, I can't because my video picture is there and I can't move it. It says 50 grams of carbs on each plate. So this is the range for carbohydrates is for the ketogenic diet. Then we have a proportion also of carbs, which are healthy carbs. And also these carbs can be 20 grams or 50 grams, but with the healthy carbs, you have way more greater amounts. So don't count the grams of the food. the grams of the carbs are not the same as the grams of the entire food, because there are fibers and other things. It's not only carbs. So you can choose in between different type of carbs, and the rest would be protein sources like meat, fish, eggs. In some people can consume dairies and fat. Of course, the fat comes with the meat very often, and you don't have to do much excessive fat. If you have to put something on the salad, I would choose olive oil. Other beneficial fats are avocado, as well as coconut oil. Some people don't like it. I'm one of them. I'm not a very big fan of coconut oil. I use it sparingly, but not all the time. But if you like olive oil, you are fine. We continue further. The second habit is because we spend 1/3 of our life in school or at the office, and it's important that we have what I call a hygiene of movement or non-movement at these places. When you see it, you have to follow everything what the picture on the left is showing you, with the degrees of your elbow, your hip, 90 degrees, thighs parallel with the floor, and etc. Screen at your eyes, so the head doesn't have to move on the side, to lean constantly, because that stresses the back. And very important, to get up and move every 20 minutes around the chair, go to the washroom, do a few squats, some lunges if you want, some stretches are very, very good. You can do them on the chair as well, but you have to be able to get up and move around. Second picture on the right with the great Dan Hellman, one of my mentors, is my favorite. Working standing, which allows you to move. And here we start the theme about the movement. As I said many times before, we are made through movement, and we has to pass our life, the whole life, moving. We are not sedentary creatures, and from there come all the problems with our chronic health conditions, because of the seating, because of the stagnation of the fluids in our hip that have to move up and cleanse the body. That is a big, big problem. The respiratory process changes, the oxygen intake changes, because when people are like this all day, the airways that has to get the oxygen are compromised, and you can't take the optimum oxygen intake so your body can function properly. The number 3 is movement, continuation of the slide before. The movement strategy has to fulfill your needs. Your needs of how much movement and what components of movement. Some people need to do more strength, other people need to do more mobilization, agility. Other people need stretching because they're very stiff. I would like to point here that a lot of people who are very limber like to go to yoga and stretching, but they don't do strength training. This is wrong, to go to extremes. Our goal always has to be a balance of strength, endurance, agility, mobility, stretching, and etc. So it depends also your strategy of your capabilities. Some people are capable to swim, and this is by far one of the most amazing movements you can do, you can perform. Other people are capable more of doing weights. They have this culture of doing weights, and they have the body that can take more weights, or the body that needs weights. Like I'm one of those short and stocky, I really am capable to lift very heavy, and I'm capable to have workouts that are longer with weight training. Some people are capable to do more cardiovascular training because that gives them more energy. But again, we shouldn't do this too extreme. We always have to have in our program balancing exercises. Movement strategy depends on your lifestyle. There are people who go to gym after work. There are people like me who get up early and do quickly a workout. There are people who like to do hiking, climbing, and stuff like that. This is their lifestyle, and they adapt their movement according to their lifestyle. I want to tell you that if we weren't that sedentary, we didn't have to train, because if we would climb mountains, which is through lunging, squatting, we don't have to do lunges and squats. But because most of us walk on flat surfaces, even worse, cement surfaces, and we are a lot of times seated, we need to move, make time for movement, because that's the way we're healthy. And of course, your preferred activities has to be considered. Some people, as I said, like to swim, others like horseback riding, others like running, others like hiking, or going and swimming in the beach, not on the in the pools, in the swimming pools. So your preferred activity. The sun. I put this picture on purpose because it shows a very sunny day. The sun and the light in the morning are very important because we have something which is called adenosine, and this adenosine controls your circadian rhythm phases throughout the day. It starts releasing little by little, and by the time is evening, you have so much, ideally, if you don't drink coffee or alcohol, ideally in your blood, that you are prepared to go to sleep in such a fashion that the growth hormone can be released so you can go through recovery. All chronic health conditions have a sleep problem, and even if you sleep 8 or 10 hours, I don't care. The fact that the body cannot heal you means that you are deprived on sleep, means that you are not conscious while you're sleeping, right? That's what sleep is. But the body is not cleaning, cleansing, and recovering, because very often is food related, coffee related, alcohol related, and stress related. The fact that you are mesmerized and hypnotized by the forebrain, it doesn't necessarily mean that your body is able to cleanse you. So how does it work? When you drink coffee, less than 8 hours before you go to bed, let's say 4 o'clock p.m., and you go to bed at 10 o'clock, there's a 6 hours difference. For 2 hours at least, 2 to 4 hours, because coffee stays, the caffeine, between 8 and 10 hours in your blood flow. You have that caffeine that due to which you can sleep, but the body cannot release growth hormone to repair tissues, because when you have caffeine in your blood flow, you also have cortisol, and this cortisol does not allow the growth hormone to be released. So both hormones cannot be at the same time in the blood flow. So what happens is you're missing 2 hours at least to 4 hours, in this case, from your recovery. This is at least 50% of your cognitive recovery. And the first part of sleep between 10 and 2 o'clock a.m., we have predominantly muscle recovery, and then we have psychological recovery, mental, emotional recovery from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. And you know that we have something that is called REM phase, rapid eye movement phase, and non-REM phase, when the brain is more calm and recovers from the REM phase, where it works with 40% more energy than it works during the day right now, with a greater intensity. And as you are advancing in the night, that REM's phase becomes more and more intense and longer. The phases are changing every 90 minutes, and the rapid eye movement, the intense phase, is about 20 minutes on average, but it fluctuates. As I say, it becomes longer as you're progressing with your sleep. So in order to have a good sleep hygiene, you have to make sure that 2 hours before you go to bed, you dim down the lights, you stop watching Blu-ray screens. What I do, sometimes I have to do some work or something, I put glasses that protect you from Blu-ray rays. And this, you minimize the electronic pollution on you, so you can go and sleep and have your proper recovery. Coffee stays from 8 to 10 hours in our blood flow. It depends how you assimilate coffee. And sometimes people say, I drink coffee at 10 o'clock and I fall asleep. Yes, you fall asleep, but you're not recovering. I'm sorry. So for people with chronic health condition especially, this is a big no-no. If you are addicted to coffee, I teach my clients to suck on grains, and they maximum can go up to 12 grains a day, which is way less than what you have in a cup of coffee. And then they start minimizing that, because coffee makes you dependent. And the alcohol, it calms you down, but it hypnotizes you. And for the same reason, you don't have any recovery while you are drinking alcohol. That glass of wine with a dinner is a no-no. I know that the doctors sometimes recommend, because the alcohol has antioxidants, the red wine especially, and they recommend a glass of wine or a little shot of whiskey to relax your arteries, and so the blood can flow better, and etc. But the alcohol does so much damage on the brain. It literally eats it. I've seen pictures of people who haven't drunk all their life, and people who drank all their life or drink occasionally, and the changes in the brain becomes literally smaller. So it's up to you, but if you expect to heal from a chronic health condition, alcohol is a no-no in your diet, way of nutrition. So these are the major things about sleep and any other habit I'm saying here, because for the length of this video, I absolutely cannot offer all the information I am using and all the tricks and tips with my clients about sleep. Does your drainage work? Well, the drainage is actually the digestive system at the other end, as we say. We have to monitor, because, for instance, this is the poopy police by the Czech Institute, where I studied, that shows you if people are hydrated, dehydrated, if people are stressed, like the lady in green, that's very, very common for stress. The smokers, the little guy next to her on the right side, just before the policeman. No, this is indigestion on the right. The smoker is on the other end. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. So all those following up with the nutrition and the excretion of our bowels is very important, because it speaks up about the assimilation of the food and about the health of the digestive system. Then we have hydration. For the hydration, I would like to say two things. When to drink. We should drink 15 minutes before we eat, for sure, and 45 minutes after we eat, and in between meals then. This is very important. And what I suggest to my clients is, because 99% of the people are dehydrated, I suggest to buy a Celtic sea salt, which is very rich in magnesium. You take a grain or 2 grains, put them on the tip of your mouth, and you drink a cup of water. And then you repeat the same thing. The magnesium will drive the water into the cell. Of course, you can monitor if 2 grains or 3 grains, so 1 grain of Celtic sea salt, it's up to you. We have 2 formulas for drinking water. One is your weight in pounds divided by 70 will give you the liters of water you should drink. And here for you, for easier to understand, let's say a person with 140 pounds divided by 70 has to drink 2 liters of water per day. Well, another formula is your weight in pounds, let's say is 200 pounds. You take half of your body weight in ounces, these are 100 ounces, and that's what you drink per day. 100 ounces are close to 3 liters per day. When do we have to be careful? Pregnant women, because there are sometimes some complications. People with heart conditions have to be careful with the water intake. Sometimes people with kidney disease have to make sure that they consult with their doctor about the water intake. Usually those doctors say the more you pee, the healthier you are. But I would like my clients to consult with their doctor just in case with that. And there are other ways of hydration, but I work with my clients on that, and it's very interesting how the water reflects on our health and helps us, and how the body finds different ways to hydrate itself, because we very often are not correct towards our body while we hydrate or not hydrate. So the next habit, or actually we went through the habits. I would encourage you to call us to discover if you're promising fit for our program, and we see what can we do to help you in healing your chronic health condition or improving your chronic health condition. We usually send this flower to our clients, where we want the client to color the petals in green, orange, or red. It depends what kind of answer they have for us. For instance, do you have a dream team? The dream team are all these people that support you in your dream of healing yourself from chronic health condition. And if you have, you cover it in green. If you have a person but you're not sure, it's orange. If you don't have anybody to motivate you or support you, you cover it with red. And the same with the rest of the petals. Do you know how to strengthen the immune system? For every condition, it's important that the immune system is very strong, because the body is like apothecary, and it has all type of antibiotics and hormones and other pills and antidepressants and whatever your mind can make of, every pill possible, it can produce itself. We just have to give it the tools to do so. Then, do you know which movement stretches can help remedy your current pain or lethargy if you feel lethargic? This is important because movements help us to ensure fluids go through our body, and they can heal us. For instance, organs, they receive their nutrients through the fluids, and also they are cleansed daily through the fluids of the body that the body sends them. Do you have a comprehensive customized healing plan for the next, let's say, 16 weeks? We must have a plan for healing. Just going to a doctor from time to time and checking up if the pill still doesn't works or didn't pose any danger to us or something like that is not enough, because our goal is healing, not living with the disease. I would accept this only partially in some genetic diseases where really it's extremely difficult to changes to occur. But in some of them, I know, if you know Dr. Joe Dispenza, he reported that many of his clients just unpeel the grave onion of their really horrible genetic diseases, and there are people who are healing actually through meditation, hypnotic meditation. This is what I do with my clients as well. What is your commitment to improve your condition from 1 to 10? This is very important. If you don't believe that you are able to heal, that means you won't do what is required from you to do to be able to heal, or you will constantly sabotage yourself or find excuses or stuff like that. So I am not interested in such clients, because unless they need help, I will help them to get out of this vicious circle. But clients like that cannot achieve results just because they won't do what is required from them to do. And the healing plan requires quite a lot of your time. If you would like to reverse the condition, to minimize pain and etc. So how to get in touch with us? As you know, we are 100% committed, and we hope that you too are. We have a group, it's called Eliminate a Chronic Health Condition. This is a health group about health and healing, where I post weekly I find them interesting and helpful videos and other posts about how to heal. So also, this is my cell phone number, 778-779-1203. You can call me. My name is Maria Taneva, and you can ask me a question. If you go on the website, transformperform.ca, you can book an appointment. The appointments, the 20-minute appointment where we see if you're good fit, so if we should continue with you or not, or refer you. It's free. And then the appointment for assessment is 90 minutes, where we define the roadblocks why you haven't healed so far, what stopped you, and how we can help you this not to happen anymore. And we also decide what kind of questionnaires you have to fill out, but we need to know more about you in order to give you the right assessment questions, because your metabolic typing has to be defined. Also, how the bodily systems are working, the endocrine, the cardiovascular, the respiratory, etc. systems, and to see what kind of plan to make for you. This all you can have on the 90 minutes call. And if it still doesn't work for you, or we still find that maybe it's better to refer you, we will refer you. I'm very lucky that I have an enormous network of peers who work with different, specialized with different problems, and I can refer you to where you live, even to have one-on-one coach if you need to, if I cannot help you. So that is for today. Thank you very much for listening. And I hope to see you on the other side on the 90 minutes call, which is free.